Warning, this video contains minor spoilers for Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Nothing major, but I will be mentioning the changes to the story this game brings. If you care about that and don't want your experience ruined, then finish the main story and then watch this video. These games have been out for a few weeks now, so I'm sure you've all heard the reviews and played either version for yourself. You already know that this is a retelling of the previous games, Sun and Moon, changing some aspects of the last time we ventured in the Alola region as well as adding a few new twists along the way. So instead of just going over these games in terms of reviewing the story and the gameplay, which is mostly the same from the last games, I'll just go over my own opinions on the changes and my experiences from playing Ultra Sun and tell you if I felt it was worth spending full price on a pair of games with a very similar story as last year. But first I must confess something. I can't really show footage from the first half hour or so of the game because I was a bit of an idiot and didn't realize I was recording only the bottom screen instead of the top one, and thus I can't really talk much about the beginning of the game up until I could access the Pokemon Center for the first time. But at least the battle menu looks good. And you should also know that I did choose a Litten as my starter, but I used one in my first playthrough of Pokemon Sun, and in subsequent playthroughs of Moon I chose the other starters and I wanted a bit of a different experience in my new adventure. So with that in mind, I traded that Litten for a Charmander. He even has Dragon Pulse. I don't think I'll be regretting that decision at all. Wait, you can't one-shot the Smeargle at half health with Dragon Pulse? You know what? I take it back. I regret everything. I should just leave you out in the rain and let your tail burn out. In the arms of the angel. Fine, I'll try to make this work. You're lucky Charizard is one of my favorite Pokemon, but you'd better get good quickly. But back on track, I'd like to talk about some of the changes with the story and... wait. Is that an Ekans? You can catch Ekans very early in the game? So I can go through most of this journey with my former mascot Arbok? This is officially the best game ever. I gotta take a pic to honor this proud moment. As far as the changes to the main story goes, I feel that it was really well done. The Ultra Recon Squad was a pretty interesting group with a backstory that adds a bit more mystery to the plot. In Ultra Sun, you run into Dulce and Zossie, and in Ultra Moon, you encounter Solaria and Fico. However, regardless of which game you play, you'll run into all 4 members of the Ultra Recon Squad eventually. Some of the trials have also been a bit different. A couple are the same, like the first one in Verdant Cavern, but others have brought a new twist to what we did before in Sun and Moon. Take Lana's trial, for example. In previous games, we fought a couple of regular Wishiwashi in order to send them downstream to fight a Totem Wishiwashi. But in this game, after sending the Wishiwashi downstream, you think they're gonna form the Totem like before, but... surprise, motherfucker! Oh hey, my Charmander evolved into Charmeleon. Maybe now he'll pull his own weight and be a productive member of the team. Never mind. But it's not just the trials and small story changes that make Ultra Sun and Moon feel different, Alola itself has changed as well. There's new areas to explore, totem stickers to collect, new buildings and cities that can add an entirely new experience, and the new Mantine surfing between islands. Though if you do go surfing, just watch out for Sharpedo. One change I'm not quite a fan of is that Lusamine is not exactly the same as she was in Sun and Moon. In the previous game, she was the main antagonist with a corrupted view of love and beauty. In Ultra Sun and Moon, she's just a bit of a rude mother figure who's kinda overprotective. It's a bit of a downgrade if you ask me. But it's not a big complaint, really. I get why they did it. Lusamine as the main villain wouldn't fit well in this Ultra storyline with Necrozma being the misunderstood monster to take down. I just thought her role in the previous games was the only thing that was better than what happens with her in this remix storyline. Huh, Charmeleon evolved. Well finally, now he'll be unstoppable. You know, this is why I relied more on Arbok in this playthrough. Yeah, you eat them beans, buddy. You deserve them. Last thing I want to touch on was the post-game story featuring Team Rocket. Oh, I mean Team Rainbow Rocket. Hey, it's current year, I don't judge. Let your freak flag fly, Giovanni. But can I just say that this is probably the best post-game in the entirety of the franchise? Because it is. There's no arguing this. I'm sorry. The plot is simple and takes advantage of the Ultra Wormhole concept presented in the main story, as this group of villains are not the same guys we know from previous entries in the series. They come from a separate dimension where the main character of the games never existed, so they ended up succeeding in their ultimate goals. With Giovanni as the leader of this new Team Rocket, they travel to your dimension, kidnap Lucamine for some reason, and take over the Aether Foundation and Festival Plaza, and it's up to you, Lily, and Guzma to save the day. I know, the plot doesn't sound like much, but when you play it, it's a real challenge which is refreshing for veteran Pokemon trainers. Each boss has a high-level team with the signature legend that they revolve their evil plans around. For example, when I fought against Ghetsis, he had a Zekrom. If I didn't use Necrozma's new Ultra form, I'd have lost that fight. Any advice I'd give to those who haven't played this yet would be that if all of your Pokemon aren't at least level 65 when you start the post-game, you're gonna have a hard time beating Team Rainbow Rocket. And that's really all I have to say about Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. In my opinion, these are the definitive 7th gen games, far surpassing Sun and Moon in almost all aspects. These entries to the franchise are Game Freak's final main titles for the Nintendo 3DS, and they pushed the hardware to its absolute limit. If you haven't played it yet, do so now, but with all that I'm gonna head on out, so I'll see y'all later. The physics in these games are so realistic.